Why did the platypus swim to the other side of the river? Because it wanted to prove it wasn't just a weird-looking duck. But jokes aside, let's dive into the fascinating world of the platypus, one of nature's most unique creatures. When you first lay eyes on a platypus, you might think Mother Nature was having a bit of a laugh. This creature looks like it was assembled from spare parts. It's got a bill and webbed feet like a duck, a tail like a beaver, and it's covered in fur like an otter. And if that weren't enough, it's one of the few mammals that lays eggs. Yes, you heard that right, eggs. You might be wondering, why does the platypus look like a hodgepodge of different animals? Well, we like to call it the Swiss Army knife of animals. Each feature serves a unique purpose. The bill, for instance, is not just for show. It's a sensory powerhouse, helping the platypus navigate underwater and detect the electrical signals of its prey. The beaver-like tail isn't just a fashion statement either. It stores fat reserves, which are essential for the platypus's survival. And those webbed feet? They make the platypus an agile swimmer, capable of hunting in the water with grace and precision. But let's not forget about the most puzzling feature of the platypus: the fact that it lays eggs. This mystery has stumped scientists for years. It's one of the few mammals that do so, placing it in a special category known as monotremes. So, with all these mixed-up features, you might think a platypus doesn't know whether it's coming or going. But rest assured, each one of these quirky characteristics plays a crucial role in the life of a platypus, making it perfectly adapted to its environment. Stay tuned as we unravel more mysteries about this truly one-of-a-kind creature. Have you ever heard of a duck-billed, egg-laying, venomous mammal? Well, meet the platypus. This amazing animal is like a real-life superhero with a whole host of superpowers that have evolved over millions of years. Picture this: you're an animal evolving over time, trying to survive in a rapidly changing world. What do? Well, if you're a platypus, you grab a little bit of everything from nature's tool belt. First off, let's talk about that duck bill. It's not just for show, it's a finely tuned, super-sensitive detector that the platypus uses to find its food underwater. As if that's not cool enough, it's also one of the few mammals that can lay eggs. Now let's move on to the venomous part. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs that they can use to defend themselves. It's like having a secret weapon up your sleeve, or rather, on your ankle. But the platypus didn't just randomly pick up these features, they evolved over time, thanks to a process called natural selection. This means that over millions of years, the platypus ancestors that had useful traits, like a duckbill or venomous spurs, were more likely to survive and pass these traits on to their offspring. And where did all this evolution happen? Right in Australia, a land of unique animals and diverse environments. The platypus ancestors had to adapt to a variety of habitats, from rivers and lakes to forests and mountains. This may be why the platypus ended up with such a bizarre mix of features. Just imagine if you had a tool belt with everything you needed for survival. That's the platypus. It's like the Swiss Army knife of the animal kingdom, ready for anything that comes its way. With all these survival tools, the platypus is like the superhero of the animal kingdom. If you were a platypus, where would you hang out? Probably in a burrow by the river. That's right, these fascinating creatures prefer to live near freshwater bodies, specifically in the eastern and southeastern parts of Australia. Platypuses are semi-aquatic mammals, dividing their time between land and water. On the land, they create burrows for themselves and their offspring, usually dug into the banks of rivers or streams. These burrows can be as long as 30 meters and feature a number of chambers, providing a cozy and safe retreat for these intriguing animals. Now, let's dive into the water, the other half of a platypus's life. Here, they are skilled swimmers, using their webbed feet to navigate the underwater world. And it's in these freshwater bodies where they find their favorite meals. You see, platypuses are carnivorous, feasting on a diet that includes insects, worms, and various small water creatures. But how do they find their food in the murky waters, you may ask? Well, these creatures have a secret weapon: their bill. The platypus bill is not just a quirky feature, it's a highly sophisticated tool packed with thousands of sensors. These sensors can detect the tiny electrical signals produced by the muscular contractions of their prey. This means a platypus can hunt efficiently, even in complete darkness or muddy water. In addition to their bill, platypuses also use their cheek pouches to store food as they forage, only to munch on their collected goodies once they're back on dry land. Yes, they're quite the multitaskers. So, the next time you're by a river in Australia, look closely. You might just spot a platypus going about its day, foraging for food or heading back to its burrow with a cheek pouch full of delicious treats. And remember, They're not just adorable, they're also incredibly adapted to their unique lifestyle. So, if you're ever in Australia and see a hole near the water, it might just be a platypus's home. With all its cool features, you'd think the platypus would rule the world, but sadly it's facing some problems. The platypus, a creature as unique as it is intriguing, is unfortunately under threat. The culprits? Habitat loss and climate change. It's a 1-2 punch that's making it harder for these little guys to survive. Let's begin with habitat loss. Platypuses live in the rivers and streams of eastern Australia and Tasmania. But as humans continue to develop these areas, the platypus's home is shrinking. Forests are being cleared for agriculture and urban development, which means fewer places for the platypus to live, hunt, and breed. Now, on to climate change. Platypuses are sensitive to changes in their environment. They need cool, clean water to thrive. But as temperatures rise due to global warming, their watery homes are heating up. This not only affects the platypus's comfort, but also the availability of their food. You see, platypuses eat small water creatures like insects, shellfish, and worms. But these critters can't survive in warmer waters, leaving our platypus pals with an empty dinner plate. Additionally, extreme weather events like droughts and floods, which are becoming more frequent due to climate change, can wipe out platypus populations in certain areas. Droughts can dry up their habitats, while floods can wash away their burrows. But what about the platypus's peculiar features? Can't they help? Well, unfortunately, their unique traits aren't much use against these threats. Their venomous spurs can't ward off habitat loss, and their electroreception can't detect climate change. It's a predicament that even the most resourceful of platypuses can't solve on their own. But don't worry, we're not leaving our platypus pals in the lurch. There's plenty we can do to help. And in our next scene, we'll talk about just that, how we can step in and lend a hand to save our platypus friends. So stay tuned. So, how do we save our superhero platypus? Well, it starts with understanding and respecting their environment. Conservationists are working tirelessly to protect the platypus, focusing on preserving their habitats. These efforts include monitoring their population, researching their needs, and protecting the rivers and streams where they live and hunt. But how can we leap into action? It can be as simple as learning more about the platypus and sharing that knowledge with others. The more we know about these fascinating creatures, the better we can appreciate their unique place in the world. We can also make a difference by taking care of our environment. Remember, a clean planet is a happy planet, and a happy planet means a safe home for the platypus. So remember, every superhero needs a sidekick, and the platypus needs us. Together, we can ensure these incredible animals continue to baffle and amaze us for generations to come. Now that we're all platypus pros, how about a quick quiz to test your knowledge? Question 1. Why are platypuses such a mystery to scientists? That's right, it's because they have features of both mammals and birds, like laying eggs, but also nursing their young. Question 2. Can you remember where platypuses call home? Spot on. They dwell in the freshwater areas of eastern Australia and Tasmania. Final question. What can we do to help protect these quirky creatures? Absolutely. By keeping their habitats clean and supporting conservation efforts, we can ensure the platypus population thrives. Well done, platypus pals. Keep learning, keep exploring, and remember, you're a superhero too.